after waking up, I start to conquer the darkness that's lying to me. Mara, I've got the tsatsi kaofela all the way up until ke robala hape to fight this thing. Or by the time ke ja dijo tsa bosiu, because that's the only meal I eat, I'm relaxed. I'm able to watch something on YouTube. Echoes of the Bible. Mara, if I'm not ready, I insist upon my sleep. I can't be tired. How I know that something is spiritual war versus fatigue is if I've slept soundly like a baby for 8 hours and yet I feel sleepy and drowsy again. It's why I conquer your sleep curses, because I sleep so soundly. I sleep like such a baby. I'm in such a state of a lullaby, rockin' my baby on a treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. I sleep like such a baby that when then I'm out here bobble heading, 3 hours after waking up, I know that like I said, you need bombing. I fight it. Because I get my praying in tongues. Let's have a praise and worship. Let's have a I learn every day. I learn something new about what God is doing because I'm always listening to content that is very Bible based. Let's have my training, my instruction. Let's have what do you call this? Because they then supplement also that which I come and report here by the time I'm ready to come and record a video. All these events that happen across the world. Let's have basically my daily routine. So therefore, I say once a day, all throughout the night, and then go very deep. If at all I don't sleep like a log, I will wake up with that burden, however, without being able to truly fight it yet, because I'm going to insist on going back to sleep because I need my 8 hours in order for me to trust that extreme drowsiness is not of me, but it has been given me by demonic attack. I have to have slept so soundly that I can't possibly just be merely tired. So therefore, I go to war with it knowing that it's induced. And lo and behold, after it's so weird. By the time I go to sleep, I'm more energetic than I was before. I'm more energetic than I was all throughout the night. You know that you are demonically attacked to force sleep when you've got more energy just before sleeping than you had in the run-up to. Why? Because I conquered. I fought all night long. Until eventually, I snapped out of the drowsy spell such that I ended up sleeping a little bit more energy, if not a lot more energy, than all throughout the night. Okay, I had to open for my cat. Yeah, so I like I would die. I would suddenly commit suicide. I would suddenly end my life. The melancholy you send me, I'm not going to sit out here and deny that it's there. Why? Because my ministry is to edify people, to help them identify, earmark, and so therefore rightly prescribe the right medication for the diagnosis of spiritual attack. I have to tell them what I'm going through so that when they go through it, they don't just jump off a building like Miss America. They don't just jump off a building like a person tormented by demons until they commit suicide. I have to share. Will you send me real melancholy and how I fight it in order for me to be of any valuable edification to anybody that might be going through exactly what I'm going through? To let them know that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary issue. That this thing, if you stand, if you fight, if you resist, it'll conquer, it'll overwhelm you. It'll not overwhelm you, sorry, Mara, you will overwhelm it. And you will feel so right as rain. In a way that will make you realize, listen, that's how some people end up suddenly committing suicide. It's a death spell. And they just feel this urge all of a sudden. Every day. I fight things like those every single day. The suicide attacks every day by the grace of God, because then that would be too much. Mara other kinds of spells that make me feeling I must just give up. Nonsense, a rodent. That Archer passes away from hanging on that sticky thing that's very unseemly. That spirals like that. It's in a meat factory. And then flies that about to be buzzing around it, flying around it. But says, close to that thing a bit, and they get stuck there. And then when you look at that thing, it's just like littered, got in on it. When people are those in sinsies, you become that sticky thing. Maybe it's on Tabat, one of them Tabat brand thingy, but just stick on it. Yeah. Breathe their last after flapping their feathers that they caught and then starve to death. Because I believe that's how those flies die when they get caught by that thing. They don't die immediately, they just like choke and they just starve to death. I'm starving you to death. Whatever. So Jaka Fitile Karabo Anza Kotabatu, because she's that Tabat. I'm here to let people know how to be that sticky thing Because you that tabat. You're a pestilent. You're a pesticide. I'm a pesticide. I be spraying dewmates all the day long, and they die slowly and painfully, flapping their wings on a sticky surface, flapping their ugly fly wings, their ugly intinsi mbogani wings on a sticky surface. On some, oh look at me, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Yeah, and then they're dead. I'm teaching people how to eliminate enemies that think that they're in a position to eliminate God's disciples. Let them say they're stuck until their sentences are half, until their letters are half, until their words are half, and until there's nothing coming out anymore. Because look at them breathe their They can't even finish their sentence to say last. So anyway, and then my grandmother used to say, understand it's because you're dogs. Anyway, moving on. So Kimo said fan was off. One thing for my sleep was off, and so I couldn't sleep properly. Therefore, papa me 11 from my sleep, due to fan in and not going and going. And that's of course my 11 but around that time. That's when then the carpenter guy was around, having spoken to my mom, telling her that the thing is buzzing like that, it's flashing. Mtlakasi also died, and because I can share a computer because I make sure that my computer doesn't get switched off, because ever since my computer got a little bit older, making like a geriatric out your wheezing, I have to make doubly sure that it never sleeps, because if it sleeps, waking it up again, I might have to restart. So there's a setting on my computer that makes sure that it's always on, it's always just going. My screen is always on, right? That's what's giving. My screen was off, and I was like, what in the world? And when I pressed the on button at the back of my computer, it went on zoom, switched on. You know that sound when Apple computers go on zoom? It went zoom. And I was like, but why is my computer switching on? It meant that the power went off again. And so because the power went off again, and I only discovered this at around 11 a.m., having been woken up out of slumber, having slept at 6, just 6. I was supposed to wake up about 2. Having woken, I get to wake up 6, 7. It's now 11. It's only 3 hours later. My sleep must be finished in order for me to fight a successful spiritual war every day. I cannot have a shortage of sleep. Plus, there was a time when I was not getting enough sleep and I started to get dark circles, and I'm like, y'all ain't gonna take my beauty. Listen, you've taken enough, okay? Yeah, so to lose out on sleep, and then I recovered, I bounced back, I rejuvenated. Amen. So ever since that rejuvenation, I refused to miss out on sleep because of Dimja. I realized I don't have a job, so because I get anyway, I don't have to be up by a certain time, so therefore I will sleep all 8 hours. All 8 hours. Guys, do it, please, ne? If anything, I need to pee. Okay, I come back from the bathroom. I'm relieved and I'm moisturized on my hands. Lo and behold, it reeked of feces. The way that a bathroom would stink after a person does a bomb. And number 2, Canada with hazmat suits and everything. If at all you got bravery to go in, otherwise you're gonna hold it in until the environment aerates. I went in the house and it stank of the bomb of number 2. Go kitchen. So basically it's almost as if though somebody did the bomb and left the bathroom open, and so it stank up the whole house. Lo and behold, I'm pinching my nose like that. Motho wenze number 2, abatlogela the bathroom e bulegile, and motho teng must have done that number 2 shortly before ke kena kwa ntlong, cause toilet ha iso aerate. And now it's all over the house. I leave the kitchen door open. To take out the stank of number 2. And I go to the bathroom because I needed to go there to pee. And I was just going to basically just deal with the stank in there until I'm done with my number 1. Lo and behold, it smelled of nothing. The bathroom didn't stink of number 2. Only the entrance go kitchening. That's how you know that there's a demon in the room. That's how you know that there is a manifestation of a spirit. Entities smell like sulfur, like rotten eggs. When they're all up in the grill trying to kill you, trying to end you, trying to give you bad ideas, bad thoughts. And something obviously hovering in there that was not expecting me to go in the house at this time, because they tend to avoid my particular company. That's what's giving. So when I open the kitchen door and it stank like the number 2, my immediate response was, ooh, somebody has dumped a bomb, and left the bathroom door open only for the bathroom itself to smell like nothing, evidencing that the stank was not as a result of somebody's number 2, but a demon. I've already told you guys before that entities every so often manifest with smells and a coldness of the body, shivering. It manifests in what do you call this? Just a sense of foreboding that you will feel in an ecosystem. And you feel like just a depressed spirit. That's an entity attacking you, harassing you from without. This is the level of witchcraft that is in operation right now. I told you guys about the Budmadesa Wampandane, Waskoba, Umobe. You're a hybrid, so ew. The last video that I did from this one, I spoke about how it is that Uenze a spell to divide me with my family members, and I was saying in that video, does this guy really think that he can just basically track back all the work that I've done in my family for them to stop treating me like this? The story that I'm telling you now is to explain to you, witchcraft, how it's manifested. She's left me out on a limb. She has left me out on a limb, but I'm also explaining to you the socioeconomic situation of my family to help you understand what Discord hakakan. Even though I'm not barging, I'm not moving. My mother's acting weird. She's acting weird. And Mara, you see, that's just the thing. God is the one that's gonna disquiet her, and the Lord is the one. That's why I get a situation in thing. Yeah, all these appliances falling apart. It causes the Lord showed me solar panels. Issue solar. Mara etlo causa dintho nje fela hore di tshwatlege di thubege mo ntlong hore ho tlo ba le necessity to keep on replacing things or taking them to the repairman or whatnot. Because if at all I did not bring about this repairman issue, your mother would not have been made so uncomfortable and walked around so taboo that she would have been guilty enough to snap out of whatever trash she is in. Remember the last video that I did from this one? I spoke about how it is that I had a dream where this dude was saying she will never buy again. And I compared him to the Antichrist. I will never buy again. And he wanted to sow division between me and my family members. The division is happening. Division is Mara, you see, Tapelo. Limoto that is consecrated he's lacking a freaking tooth. And he smells of an STD. Like his body stinks. I told him where to get off, and so now he has sown discord between me and my family. And right next to all that witchcraft, there's also a suicide spell. His son as a side chick, and Ape turned wife. Because his son is like my dad. Oh, since Lemosadi. Mara utla bed and breakfasting or at least 10 amount. And so that's gonna be a wife of engine STD. Oral herpes, lazy. I'm a step I work. So because they've done witchcraft to sow discord between me and my family, and they've kept me out on a limb and happy. They have kept me out on a limb and happy. Even though I'm strong, my family members aren't strong. So they're trying to cause me to be so depressed and to commit suicide and to do something very harsh, very quickly, suddenly, because look at how I'm just being treated so sadly by savages that have been savages all my life. Listen, my mom's negligence is nothing new. My mom's negligence is nothing that I am dealing with for the first time in my life. The Lord has always availed somebody else to take care of me when she could not care less. Remember, I was dripping like I'm Cardi B with Donna Karen as a teenager, in spite of the so if my mom goes awry, somebody else will take care of me. It's always been like that. The Lord always makes sure that there is someone else to pamper me, to take care of me, when my mother is typically responding like a battered woman, like a woman obita cause nyoko, like a woman that is taking it out on the world because she married trash, and her ex-husband that thing is still lays claim to her because mele a tattoo. So okay, he's my ex-husband. Okay, he's my ex-husband. Associate. That's out your ogling at 27-year-olds. She married that. And women who marry men like those end up like my mom. They don't care about daughters. They will literally throw you on crazy men because I had to do what I had to do to get ahead. What thing will be glorious. Do you understand what I'm saying? Absolutely glorious. And yet thoroughly take it in her stride that one of her children looks like Isiboto. And yet have the backs of other children, other people's kids. That's what a woman that married a nasty guy is like to sons and daughters. To sons, she will be a monster-in-law that will hate the wives of her sons. And to daughters, Otoba, a narcissistic mother that is so freaking competitive with her own child that she will leave her out on a limb even though she can't afford to leave her out on a limb, and face the risk of her own child's suicide in order to convert her daughter into a prostitute. That is what my mother is. And so, seeing as better the devil you know than the one that you don't know, my mother is a devil that I know. Ever since I was a child, I always had my own back. Remember I told you a story where it is that I got my own replenished school uniform from Lost and Found. What's it, John? And that's how I got new uniform. Remember I told you a story about how it is that lost and found. Like my school shoes in grade 11, I had never gotten a new pair of shoes ever again, since grade 8. And no, not because my mother did not want to buy me school shoes, but because she bought me school uniform once at the beginning of grade 8. So I replenished my school uniform again in grade 11 from lost and found, and I even took some other child's shoes, got lost and found, because their parents will buy them new shoes. They got better parents, I didn't. It was, I called it banditry in that video, right? That's how I used to take care of myself, because I was aware of my mom's negligence, but I was not about to end my future, prostitute myself. Some stupid dude, much too old as my school uniform. So rather than allow myself to be a little whore in high school, or the older guys that are gonna bachelor hair, and kept my virtue intact. In detail like that people didn't even understand. Like I told you, here it is that's why I was so popular and no one thought I was struggling. On civis, Nikishapa Donna Karen from tip to toe. It's our guy, my sister. Mara during the week I better school uniform was say awry. It almost looked as if though it was a choice for me to wear awry school uniform. Cause school uniform was what my mom was buying for me. Mara the Donna Karen and the Dior perfume, that was for my sister. But my sister was overseas. And when she was overseas, she was not here to look at my school uniform and be like, okay, I'll buy you shoes. My sister was only 2 years older than me, but 3 grades above me, and she was in the international market, and she was out to getting a handsome allowance from the place that gave her a scholarship. So therefore, she could have parted ways with quite a bit of money. And the casual jobs, like, restaurant waitress and whatnot. And now when you go and you convert the Italian lira or the American dollar to rands, it's quite a lot of money. So my sister would have bought me school shoes. She would have bought me shirts, but she never got to see me and my school uniform and how worn out it was enough for her to be like, okay, listen, I will buy you school shoes, or even encourage my mom to get me school shoes. So I used to go to Lost and Find and buy my own, I used to just like, listen, I lifted them. And so I took other people's shoes, and then these school shoes this here were my toes, and this here was the sole of my shoes. This was the sole, these were my toes. I used to pinch the top, the bottom, the edge of my shoes. I couldn't trip up or anything like that. I used to walk in a strange way. I couldn't trip up in any way so as to expose tabaore. If at all I were to walk any kind of different strange, like my toes would get out of my shoes altogether. As in those were my shoes. There was like a puppet. They were torn. And at some point I got fed up in grade 11, and I went to Lost and Found, and I told the groundsman, my school uniform is lost there after netball practice. I can't find it. About check out Lost and Found, if at all my stuff is there. Like ground man smoking a cigarette apparently, and just left me do my own thing in there. Ngathathi jersey, ngathathi tie, ngathathi blazer, ngathathi jersey, ngathathi tie, ngathathi blazer, ngathathi skirt, lankudwa ngathatha futhi ngathatha amasokisi winter amande, ngathatha vie nama shoes, like proper new shoes. I got new shoes from Lost and Found. Because really and truly ngwana got Lost and Found so by banditry, that's how I replenished my school uniform in grade 11. I already told that story in one of my other videos. That's the woman that I'm dealing with. Do you understand? So since it's the devil that I know, ever since I was a child in school, I could have turned to drugs, to prostitution. I could have given my mzimba, seeing as I was a pretty young thing, and there are plenty of guys out here in these streets willing to go and join with kids in these stoffies in school uniform. I don't find 2,000 rand every single month. I get a school uniform. Mama didn't even ask me what school uniform is. Why is your uniform looking new? She didn't even ask me. Sometimes she would leave us and see and so and I remember there was a day when I walked from Koskolong all the way to Alberton. My high school was in Winchester Hills. I walked to Alberton, and that was one of the days when I took a ride from some old guy. Because I got tired at some point and I accepted a lift. It could have hurt me. My mom very negligent, and nang panisha so exorbitantly whenever she felt upset with me. Ingati ming jaiva. Ingati ming pemi cigarette. Ingati sleeping with a guy empedeni wakhe. Ingati bangcile kitsuba di cigarette. Mara, it was because we were exchanging. That is what happens to a woman when she is married to Inja Efana no Baba. She's going to be so incredibly incendiary to Manai that if this child is not self-regulated, which I always have been, Maralitenge is not I, it's God. The Lord is the one that raised me. Prostitute. ke hanne go ba le bashimane ba dikoloi ke hanne go lo qoma baby Jake Matlala because he's na to shela banyana ba go south of Johannesburg driving his car around shoti mbotala ele ya boxer anza shela banyana ba go Glen Vista ba go Mondio High ba go St John bana ba go school uniform here in life this like a celebrity boxer in this country ona shela bana ba skolo I get to how he felt and the fella with a little girl in a school uniform chilling go passenger seat ya koloi ya high. He lived in the south of Joburg in some big house. And he used to just take little girls to that house and sleep with them if they would let him. As ang nakaloqoma baby Jake goes to pilengolo ya gage are hello OC. Ke hanne go loqoma bo put matlesa. God always gave me a distaste in my tongue for amadoda that exploit little girls. Now that I'm 41, angazi wabatanga ukuthi I'm gonna change my mind. Especially considering one he's kwinya meno ngempandlane and then omunye uyagula nje hure. The STDs are falling. Bonke bana ma STD but the son is even worse than the dad. Yo, ha ke so ka nna mo bophelo maka ke pushwa onto men because of inhlupheko. Angazi inhlupheka. That's the thing. What you need to understand is that I've never been poor because poverty is really and truly accounted as your socioeconomic condition in your whole entire ecosystem. Poverty, you are only that thing if everything and anything that can ever make your life easier just doesn't. So if you've got wealthy family, as a child you are regarded as wealthy. If you as a grown woman are struggling to make ends meet and you don't have money, but you've got family members that can take care of you and have your back for the season, you don't qualify as poor. Poverty is extended family. You are out on a limb. Frankly, you are one salary away from being in a homeless shelter. That's true poverty. I've never been poor. I've only ever been given just enough from my mom. And there has always been somebody willing to supplement me because of my mom's negligence. That has always been a thing. Angaze mina ngilahlelwe into ubuhosha. Ha ke soka ke prostitute. Even though abantu bazamile, even though the negligence of my mother would have in any other child, if at all God did not take care of me, produced a whore. I would have been a whore. But because and God was the one that was always looking out for me. So even though the Lord would never approve of banditry, after stealing uniform from the lost and found, it was better than sleeping with a dude that was gonna give me an STD at just the age of 17 just to get new school shoes. Especially considering I'm not hustling like this as a poor child because my mom is poor. My mom is actually eating. She's fat, but I have nothing. That's why people never thought that I had the life that I had. No one thought I was struggling. Everybody thought I had a silver spoon in my mouth. Because listen, how do you explain the dichotomy of somebody rocking Donna Karen on Civi's Day Goskolo? How do you explain the dichotomy of somebody wearing some very elaborate Puma sneakers that are not found on the South African market? How do you explain the dichotomy of that chick also having the tatalelemi, where it is that my toes would just stick out if at all I walked in a different way? How do you explain that? I wait gets like well, she probably likes her school uniform kind of disheveled. I looked rich, but I had no money. My ex-boyfriend, because I was dripping with Donna Karen one time, said to me when we were outside of a club, "How much money you got?" And he rolled his eyes because he expected I might have $200. Because when I don't know, like it's already where would I get money from? Dude, I don't have mali. So I have a naked draw no because when I'm get a hunters dry. No because when I'm get a savannah. No because go fella rona, recompense the 250 bereka papsa autumn harvest. No because I'm out paying everybody's bills. Yeah, the only time I was able to bring together my family's lifestyle with mine was when I was working. When I had a job in corporate South Africa, now it made sense that I came from a certain family. Now I was elegantly kept in a neat little bunch in myself because I was able to afford myself. Mara, before then, my sister gave me the appearance of opulence, while my mom made me look like I was a kid that was poorer than I truly was. These two worlds, when they came together, created the dichotomy that made people confused as to why in certain parts I lack, whereas in others I'm so abundant. But then when I started working, I was just abundant. I was that girl with fabulosity all through and through. Then people ripped apart a career from underneath my feet and expected to in your hosh. I mean, nakarabo prostitute angazi that thing. I guess so. Since I was a child, and the thing that my mom is, like I said, I've been dealing with it since I was a kid, and I also understand the root cause of it. Therefore, the stench of feces and lini is the entity that's out just sitting on my mother's chest, like a monster truck at a demolition derby, and she's just a Kia Picanto. It's riding on a woman's already existing issues with her child. It's riding on her already existing demon possession as a result of whatever under heaven she endured from an ex-husband. It is riding on her existing predispositions towards acting in this particular fashion. So proper, if at all you're gonna ride on my mom's existing predispositions, all you're also doing on that day is causing me to grab all the shock absorbers that I have ever used all throughout history to deal with them. All of the shock absorbers throughout history that I've ever used to deal with my mom always come up. The defense mechanism. I've always got a wall up against her. I'm always guarded. I am always guarded because nyazi ukuthi at any given moment she will manifest this rubbish on me again. Nyazi ukuthi akakho consistent, even though I fall every so often. For as long as she is not born again, for as long as she is yet to recover to the Lord, for as long as she is yet to be a Christian, she will never resist the devil to the point of every time a witchcraft spell of division is sown through her against me, resist it enough to not let it catch. It's gonna feel like guilty, but what makes her feel guilty? To ultimately recover me to any kind of normal life. What makes her do better by me? God. But how does God make her do better by me? Or try to in her ecosystem? My God, he's big. Oh, yeah, my God is big. Oh, God is the one. Okay, so you want to what you might call this thing? You wanna harshen the conditions of my daughter. Very well. When nobody bogo don't feel a gushing jugular after a very serious car accident. Uguzovuza imali from ipogoto lakho. Ungazazi ukuthi uzenzeni. Until you realize ukuthi I am plaguing your entire freaking household. I am plaguing your whole house because of what you're doing to my child. She has been dealt a bad blow enough in history. For hurting me, for harassing me, for wreaking havoc in my life, enough for her to be able to put 2 and 2 together, at least utlhalifile. That much will give it to her. After all, am I not, Papa? I got those genes. Utlhalifile enough to be able to put 2 and 2 together to understand, especially considering, even though she's ungodly, she is nonetheless very superstitious. So she's able to put 2 and 2 together when things fall apart in her ecosystem. It has everything to do with the way she's treating me. There was a season where Megu fall apart. It's no error that the microwave even though they're brand spanking new. It's no error. God is like, if at all you're going to rob my daughter of peace, because when I'm busy but in these streets. Outing and I am bandlane sa tshwanele ngwana gago wa le khawa mo khawa le koko o tlo batlang ho lo fufulela ngwanaka. Seeing as family go fell to a point where you are gonna go and do to my daughter that which you've been doing to her ever since she was a teenager. Mamela Osi. What I'm gonna do is keep on breaking your microwave. It'll be new, yeah, LG, and you will take it to Macro again. And you will buy another one, and it'll be clear in front of you. Go fast way couriers. In other places until you wake up and smell the coffee and realize Uguti Badi Musingas, you don't think it's Mudimu. I agree you don't accrue this to me. You don't think that it's me, the great I am that I am. You don't think Uguti is the Alpha and the Omega. You be thinking the ancestors because you that superstitious. They don't matter. Account it to whatever you may account it to, but peace to my daughter you will give. Because Chalete Omohane Tenyona, a small little 600 randa, a small little 1,000 randa, a small little 450 randa. What do I spend on Kutla? What is all the pedaling? O tlo spend one kutwa ko microwaving entsha. O tlo spend one kutwa ko tafoleng entsha e tlo thubega after 2 weeks. O tlo spend mo washing machine. O tlo spend mo another person o tlo motlisa mo jarateng a tlo check into. You're going to spend it on electricians. But I'm going to tell my daughter what's the issue. Ore computer ga is ka senyega. Oh, things are going to stop working. And you're going to spend money until you wake up and realize ukuthi because ke had no fakarabo just a meager 500 rands. I have spent 7,000. She is smart enough to put 2 and 2 together. There was a time when she was busy out there replacing everything as in everything. I know she stopped hurting me, and then all of a sudden imali yakhe yaba in a neat little bunch. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. That's the Bible. And give, and it'll be given to you. Yeah. Pressed down and shaken together and running over until you reach the top. Give and it'll be given to you. She doesn't quite get that, but you see, I'm always giving because this year is generosity. Even though nyani tlapa I can city 5-finger king. You got blue eyes because I'm that chick. Papa get a shapa face ring. You're losing teeth because of me. Mara, I'm also trying to heal you from your incendiary spiritual cancer. You think that I'm up for grabs, so kyale lanza kyale trapa. Mara, I'm also very healing. It's called tough love. I'm generous. No mangin tlapa. Do you understand? And you expect ukuthi umuntu onikeza yonke impilo yakhe osebenzela uGod. Osebenza ngabo hloko hakana khosina muntu ongimametseng ko YouTube. And sing as in ati, give, and it'll be given to you, my daughter. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over until you reach the top. Yeah, okay, so the Lord says that given will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And also, if my servant asks for a fishy, will I give a scorpion? Absolutely not. Seek first the kingdom and its righteousness, and everything else will be added to you. That's herein lies what in the world under heaven. My God, be out your speaking. And yet here's a person trying to make a counter activity true. Give, karabo, and I will parch you. I will starve you. I will be basically the Antichrist while I am Christ. But I won't care that people are bewitching your mother to ignore you. No, what God will do will grab the vats of my mother, the wheat of my mother that she has purchased from Egypt, and just put a dagger in it. The Lord will put a dagger in it, and that sack will vuza on the back of a camel all the way to her homeland. And then you've made like Hansel and Gretel, breadcrumbs all over these streets. Must I go pick them up all over the desert to figure out where in the world my grain done gone? I done bought that grain, but you done made like Hansel and Gretel and dropped them breadcrumbs all across the way. And unfortunately, just like with the story of Hansel and Gretel, them birds done eaten it. Listen, no camels, why have you no sensation in your backs, seeing as you got all those humps on your backs? I mean, with all those humps, you gotta be smart, right? But you're not smart enough to be able to feel when weight on your back is getting lighter and lighter. No, camels are there to carry your grain, but God is the one that's going to put a hole in it and all them birds be eating away at all that grain. So that like Hansel and Gretel, you will go back to Egypt and buy some grain. Because the story of Joseph is not over. My God knows how to make. My God knows how to vuzisa all of y'all's grain coming from Egypt. He knows how to get all that deed. Like 20,000. Before you even get to the 5th of the month, say 2,000. Yeah, I mean, did you not have to go and replace all the solar panels? Oh my goodness, did the fridge not pack up? Oh my goodness, did the carpet not rip? Oh my goodness, did the dog not pee on your brand spanking new Gucci coat? I guess it did. Look at your sack vuzaring skinny grain lasagna. The Lord knows how to make a person who is ungodly yet spiritual, ungodly yet superstitious, to stop doing what they're doing because they think, oh, badimo, they're coming at me. Badimo bang tshwere ka dijerese. The other day, because she had just told me she's not going to give me anything for the reasons that she had to go and buy new fans. Whatever chelete she was going to give me, and something tells me that the reason why my mother did that was because Morka just like me, birds of a feather, except now I'm godly. Yeah. Laura. She once got a dream it was the end of the world and everything was falling apart, and the only place where it was safe was where I was at. She's got a spiritual gifting and the gifts of the Holy Spirit, and without repentance. So seeing as I'm a devil worshippers, especially in abantu abaphuphayo vele. Yeah. And like the entire Lorileng was essentially my arrogance in saying, you owe me this, you owe me that, because she started to act so strangely, and I'm about to explain to you how strangely she acted. Why decided ukuthi akazonikeza imali based on amaphupho akhe. Lo muntu uyaphuphiswa. So ngiyazibuza ukuthi why God asamuphuphisa suicide yakhe? Because she's put my life in harm's way. Mara, it doesn't matter. She doesn't have to be given a scary dream. Only a scary life. In order for her to, seeing as she's so superstitious, put two and two together. My mother is very spiritual, but she is exceptionally bereft of true righteousness. And the other day I walk into a bedroom, and I overhear something that she is listening to, some TikTok or Instagram of some woman explaining how ancestors work. And she's like, if at all, remember the other day I was like, I have a late brother that now today would qualify as my ancestor, so I don't know why your ancestor worship makes any kind of sense. Well, herein lies an answer to that question. As I'm listening to the conversation that my mom is listening to on her cell phone device, something. And some woman is just speaking about how it is that if at all an ancestor was alive during the time when you were alive, then that person is not an ancestor. This little charlatan of a harlotress, like idol worshipping idolatorando, carries on speaking and says that, yeah, and when you are born, you are also born with a guardian angel assigned to you. And I'm like, listen, people get to hell and they realize just what they believe. But nonetheless, I heard enough of this twat to comprehend Uguti just in the same way that I ought to be studying Bible movies to understand the character of God. She studies anybody's random weird counsel in order to understand the character of gods and not so much much God. I'm studying the God of the Bible, and she's studying the gods of the world, the very many of them. She's polytheistic, and amidst her tutors was some strange chick on Instagram out just speaking smack about how it is that if you're born in the same lifetime as one of your relatives, they don't qualify as an ancestor. And I was like, oh, did that not just put a damper in your stepmama because you went and visited your mother, my grandmother, at the grave one time? Now you're gonna stop, aren't you? You're gonna stop because some chick done told you, because you're tossed to and from by every wind of doctrine, aren't you? Now you're gonna stop visiting my grandmother, your mother, at the grave and talking to her because some chick on Instagram rocked up like a bat out of hell and told you that your mother does not qualify as your ancestor because she was alive during your lifetime, and so therefore can't also be Karabo's ancestor. So who then is Karabo's ancestor? Who then is your ancestor? Somebody that you likely don't even know, seeing as my great-grandmother was also alive when I was born. So listen, who are your ancestors, mama? You need to stop going to these graves. But you see, their doctrines are always changing, shifting shadows out, causing you to toss to and from with every wind of doctrine. But then I believe in you and me. I believe that we will be in love eternally. Jesus Christ of Nazareth, you will always be the one for me. I will never leave your side. Yeah, he's the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through him. He's inerrant, he's immovable, he's unchanging. And so therefore, because he's the same yesterday, today, and forever, his doctrines will never leave my side. And I will not go and visit a thing at a grave today and then stop visiting it because, listen, it was my brother. And so since somebody told me on Instagram the other day that if at all I was living in the same lifetime as somebody that passed away from my family, they don't qualify as an ancestor. Look at my doctrine changing like that overnight. Yeah. My mom's doctrines were out changing, and I met somebody on Instagram, and I just rolled my eyes walking into the room on some, you're such an idolater. It is no wonder why you're withholding from me money. But you see, all things work out together for the good of them who love the Lord and are called according to his purposes. Even your idolatry is going to come in nice and handy for me, because as a result of the bizarre activity of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Egyptians actually gave the Jews a bunch of gold, a bunch of silver, a bunch of stuff to get out of Egypt with, so your gods will stop coming at me. Yeah, sometimes pagan people that are super superstitious but not really godly just give God's people things so that God stops plaguing them. Superstitious individuals of the planet give God's people things sometimes because, listen, don't kill any more of my children, and don't bring us any more gnats and locusts and froggies. No more days of darkness, and please cease hostilities with all that blood water. I would appreciate it if you would keep all the flies from my soup, insofar as you will take my golden club, insofar as you will take my golden scepter, insofar as you will take my golden bowl, all my rings, take them. Grab my earrings too. Listen, take my whole body. Just tell your God to leave me alone. That is the God of the Bible. He uses the idolatry of the idol worshiper against them, because idolatrous people that believe in gods are very superstitious. And so seeing as they're superstitious, they will always ask for the staying of the wrath of the hand of God from their camps when they notice it. You will remember how it is that in what book in the Bible was it? I listen to so very many of these things, or they're so eluding me. All of them are just walking away. Anyway, the Samaritans, amen, donkey. You know how the Assyrians are to wreak so much handsome havoc in the Jews' lives because of their serious idolatry against God? And then the Lord caused the Assyrian Empire to come all up in Israel. And then the Samaritans were meshed thanks to the Assyrian Empire out mixing God's people with other people, with foreign nations. And then they just kind of mingled together. During the season when they were out mingling together, making like a homie. During the season when they were mingling together, some disaster befell lions. Thank you, son. Thank you. The Lord just keeps on reminding me of stuff. Lions apparently kept on attacking this joint, attacking them, mauling, like pouncing very heavy. Lions are pounced in this particular ecosystem. They were harassed by lion attacks. People kept on just dying. Nobody was safe because beasts were mauling away at them. The Samaritans, right? The people from Samaria, the Jews from Samaria that were now mixed with all these foreign peoples, got lion attacks. And so because of lion attacks, they went to the king of Assyria and they were like, dude, listen, we don't know that land. I get it, the king of the king of the Assyrians, they told foreign lands to go and basically just live in the territories where it is that Israel was inhabiting. And so since Judea and Samaria belonged to like Israel, that crazy king that created a new religion, Jeroboam. Not Jeroboam, but Rehoboam, right? I keep making mistakes with Jeroboam, Rehoboam. The names are so similar. But he created a new religion with like golden calves and everything. And ever since him, like a lot fell apart. And so God's people were then like harassed by the Assyrians, right? And so they were scattered all over the streets. And then they were told, people from foreign lands that the Assyrians had conquered as well, in order to, it was a military strategy to essentially ascertain that people don't maintain their identity, because if at all they maintain their identity, they're in strength. And if at all they're in strength, they could rise up and coup and conquer and do strange things. So he needed to like mix up their languages. And so he brought foreign lands to go and live in the previously conquered territories, including Judea and Samaria. And there in Samaria, there were lion attacks. And these foreign people mixing with the Jews in Samaria, of course, created what we now today call Samaritans, right? And in the creation of these Samaritans, there were, like I said, lion attacks. And with these lion attacks happening, because the ancient civilizations were as superstitious as they were, yet nonetheless not godly, they always accrued whatever like befalling disaster was slapping their ecosystem to gods being mad. Like, look at what's going on right now, which is very unfortunate in Iran, but really and truly they are in great sin. And that's why this stuff is happening. I remember thinking, come to South Africa and grab buckets of hail water and put it in your shower. Shame Iranians, because you don't have water now. Herein lies Ayatollah Khamenei trying to tell the Iranians to move the city. You know, when you've got like a dictator, they be saying stuff like that. All of you millions of people with your schools and your jobs, make like the nomads and just move. Make like Cain and be a vagabond and just travel around. Let go of your Tehran. Okay, so Khamenei is telling people to move out of Tehran, but I remember just thinking, come and grab the ice balls in Cape Town that are to mess with people's cars. There's more than enough rain in South Africa. You and South Africa are allies, so just grab buckets, I guess, Iran and South Africa, and just like throw them over to Iran so they can get rain. But then again, I guess you can't get to Iran now, can you? Some places have too much rain, causing droughts, too much rain causing floods, and hailstones are actually killing people's cars. And then other places have no water at all. Like, everybody's being judged, aren't you? Anyway, whatever. Therein lies those lions. And what did the Iranians do? Pray. To who though? Allah. Point exactly. The Iranians were holding vigils after praying to Allah. Allah ain't gonna do jack for you. He ain't God. Y'all know that, who is this guy? Ezekiel, in the days of Ahab and Jezebel. Yeah. They were busy worshipping this fertility god called Baal. Bring us rain, bring us rain, bring us thunderstorms, bring us even those hailstones, we'll take them. And Elijah was like, listen, wait again, there's going to be a drought for 3 years so you can finally understand who the God of all is, who the one true God is. Wabalegu went to that place with a funny name, and he was fed at the brook by ravens. And during that 3.5 years, Charbut, hey? It got all rainy even though they kept on praying to Baal. And then after 3 years, he rocked up again, prayed to the Lord, and rain came again, even though the dude had to go 3 times to go and look out for some clouds or whatever. That was his servant. That was Elijah over there. He brought rain back to a city, a town, an environment, an atmosphere, a country. He brought rain back from a foreign land to a foreign country after 3.5 years, therefore fulfilling his prophecies. That was Elijah over there, proving that God is God and Baal ain't God, even though you keep on praying to him to bring you harvest. So the Muslims are out here in Tehran, in Iran, praying now, holding a vigil, turning to God, because they realize that gods are to account for all these shortcomings in their ecosystem, but they always turn to the wrong gods. They always turn to the wrong gods. So I remember just feeling so sorry for them on some, oh, you're allies to South Africa. And Khamenei, you also keep on paying the South African government a whole bunch of money to bring in your crazy friends as people there from Palestine, and also to go and do a case at the ICJJ. Hey, so I mean, maybe they can give you buckets of rain from Cape Town because they got too much. I don't care about you guys. I don't care. Yeah, okay, so the Iranians, which I feel sorry for, habana metsi. The other day there was no water. Listen, just about a couple of days ago here in these streets, and like nothing sucks more than peeing using the toilet. Having to be sparing, and we had to go and buy bottles upon buckets of water. All these things that are presently happening right now. And when then I saw those clips in Iran of regular citizens in Iran out here being interviewed by journalists with their faces hidden and whatnot, proper one woman, like I hate dirt so much. And I was like, yo, you live in mire and in dirt. Mohara shower, one guy, bottled water on the floor, mo showering before I am sebetsing, at least a pumules I am sebetsing. No, not just for a few hours until Joburg Water brings the water back, but no, like just like indefinitely, to a point where Ayatollah Khamenei it's like moved from Tehran altogether. I'm not laughing at the Iranians, I'm just saying you're idolaters. Repent and give your lives to the Lord and he'll bring you rain. Stop harassing Israel, he will bring you rain. Stop afflicting the people of God, he will bring you rain. Stop paying South Africa to take Israel to the ICJ, then he will bring you rain. And also stop, allying with all of the enemies of God, he will bring you rain. But they pray to who? Allah, who is what? Wreaking havoc indeed. In who? The Jews' lives and who? Christians' lives. They're persecuting the church over there, they're arresting Christians, but they want rain. Come to Cape Town and they'll give you a hailstone. Just throw it at you. There's too much rain in South Africa and yet no rain in Tehran, in Iran. So, I mean, like, what in the world do you do over there? Anyway, I digressed. Ari khutheleng morao ko situationing ena e re trapang. Ari khutheleng morao ko situationing ele e re trapang. So herein lies these lions, and just like the Tehranians, the Iranians, right, out here praying finally because there's no rain to Allah. Hey, look at now the Hebrews, the Jews mixed with foreign countries, superstitiously realizing that this year is not to be, that was before the days of this weird narrative otherwise known as climate change. It was before the days of climate change. Everybody out here hooking up a meteorologist in the street to give them a strange answer that don't make any kind of sense. It was during the days when people literally called a spade a spade. We ain't got no rain cause gods are angry. We ain't got no rain cause we is nasty. We ain't got no rain cause we ain't appeasing them gods of this particular geographical territory. We ain't got no rain because God got something to do with it. At least they were more pious than the present society that we are living in. Now people be giving melting ice caps over to the god of climate change. Like, we did it, all of our carbon emissions. Okay. Education has just rot your brains, hasn't it? Anyway, whatever. So, back then, though, all that people were doing were out just saying, Samaria, our gods of this particular territory are responsible for all these lion attacks. And so they went and told the king of Assyria. What did the king of Assyria do? He went and called for a priest in, I believe, Judah, that was, however, marred with all different kinds of idolatry within himself. So he wasn't a real priest. They were right to say, they said that whatever god belongs to this geographical territory, because people in ancient civilizations had thorough comprehension that territories do have gods. You will remember the Prince of Persia. There are gods over territories indeed, but they are substandard, they're fallen angels. But there is the one true God that is above all of them. And his name is Jesus, Wonderful Counselor, Almighty God. Amen. Yeah. But y'all don't want to be respecting the God above gods, the King above kings, the Lord above lords. They are aware that they are geographical territories, but they worship them as gods as opposed to shunning them as fallen angels, and so therefore awarding proper worship to the one true God. Herein lies these people recognizing that the geographical principality, essentially, over this particular region is very angry, it's mad, and it needs to be appeased. And so they were like, whatever God belongs to this particular region, deal, like, let's appease it, but we don't know who the God of this territory is, and we don't know how to appease him, because at that stage the Jews had been so watered down that they couldn't even remember the customs and the principles of the one true God. And so they also needed a priest to come from Judah, from Israel, and not Israel, but from Judah and Jerusalem. And they indeed brought one. They went and summoned one. Listen, I don't know why after taking my glass of water that night I did not bring a new one. Let's drink. I feel sorry for the Iranians, I really do. I wish I could just give them this whole thing. Anyway, whatever. So, herein lies the situation. They then called a priest to basically teach them the way to appease this god. And so they brought a priest from Judah that was supposed to teach them. The right solution was sought. The ways of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And even if they were not Jews, they would have been proselytized and so therefore appeased the Lord. But instead, this guy brought in more idol worship. Now, I don't know, I don't recall indeed the facts of the story entirely as to whether or not the lion attacks stopped. But certainly what is true is that as a result of there being beasts attacking that joint, people out here consulted the gods of that region because they understood that they were not appeasing them. And that's why people were getting mauled away by lions. What I'm trying to get at is that pagans, albeit having nothing to do with loving God, thanks to your polytheism, it works out for our good. You realize when God is plaguing you, you at least see it. You notice it. You do notice when God is plaguing you enough to out to inquire of your kings to appease the God of that particular geographical territory in order that you might not get mauled away by lions anymore. And there is a lion mauling away at my particular geographical territory, and my mother is superstitious like the Samaritans and those foreign people. My mother is superstitious like ancient civilizations, and because of how superstitious she is, Mamela, there is a lion in the room, and it's roaring loud, and my mama can hear it, and it's mauling at her neck. There is a lion in the house, and it's eating the electricity. It's making the fan stop and the microwave pack up right next to the washing machine say, I ain't working now. There is a lion in the room, and it's making the solar panels go awry. It's switching off everything and making the lights flicker. And this lion is causing you to spend 15,000 rands more than you anticipated, so you can't go on holiday. There is a lion in the room. And we are just gonna be needing to call a royal priesthood and a holy nation. Okay. Yeah. To explain to you as to what's going on. There is fire on the mountain. There is fire on the mountain. But nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountaintop, and no one is running. There is a lion in the house. It is evident it stinks like sulfur. And I walked in there to use the bathroom, and I could smell it. There is a lion in the house, and my mama don't seem to be on the run. But finally it's gonna eat away at everything in the house. Until she does right by me. She's gonna finally do right by me. Because this lion stank in the house as soon as I entered in. Every so often, dog. It's demons that have actually lodged in the house. And they will make things crack apart. And because they're gods, to the superstitious, albeit being ungodly, will nonetheless, in their superstition, try to appease whatever is falling apart. Not whatever's falling apart. Whatever is causing stuff to fall apart. She is superstitious, but not godly. And that's all I need. You did not quite account for the fact that my mother's failings are being met by a holy God who knows how to flip a narrative. You're not going to impoverish me. We get it. But it doesn't matter that she feels like she needs to go and handle me. She's been trying to withhold from me that which I need. She has tried. But just like the Hebrews exiting Egypt out here in these streets, pete gold earrings out here, jiggling them on my ears like I is important or whatever. The slavery I am in, into prostitution because inja yempandlane with no tooth thoroughly is mad as hell. That STD. Because I get her. I'm like Elijah on Mount Carmel. If God be God, serve God. If Baal be God, serve Baal. And then, when you're busy chanting and clutching and out, you're throwing everything out your cots, cutting yourselves, oh, prophets of Baal. Somehow your God is at the lavatory. I see. Your God is at the bathroom. It's at the toilet. Your God is peeing. That's why the fire's not coming. And then the boldness and belief in my God is enough to literally drench with water out your waterlock my sacrifice joint, and the Lord lick up all that water with his burning of my sacrifice when it's my turn. And y'all gonna see that water getting all licked up. And then I'm gonna show you all my beautiful jewelry from Temwe, the toothbrush, because yeah, I got that.